Hello. Say hello to the kitty. Say hi to the kitty. All right. Kitty's gotta go bye-bye. Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Clif and I am back for a brand new video. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get into this. So before we start, let me ask a quick question. Are you guys able to see Daisy perfectly fine, alright? Are you? I mean, I'm perfectly fine if you guys can't see me, alright? That's fine, alright? I just want to make sure that you guys are able to see her, alright? I'm not blocking the view of Daisy. Am I? Like, hey, if I need to move, then I will move, alright? Just literally get in the comment section and tell me to move over, alright? You just tell me to move over for in case I'm blocking the path, alright? I'll keep moving. Just keep telling me. Keep moving. Keep moving. Moving. Just moving. Just moving. Oh, crap. Oopsie. You guys probably, I mean, you guys can't see it, but, I end up accidentally bumping into the cat's water ball and just knocking it over. Yeah. So, I'm gonna have to get this cleaned up real quick, so, I'll be right back. Okay. Alright, I got it all cleaned up. Okay. So, note to self. Move that way, not that way. Alright? Alright, I think we're good. Okay. Alright. Hey everybody, my name is Clif and I am back for a brand new video. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get into this. So, for today's video, well, actually, once again, before I officially start on today's video, just to be very clear here, this is not technically that Daisy and Shy Guy connection video that I said I was going to do. I mean, if you have seen practically the whole Daisy's Palace video that I kind of made and stuff like that, that's located in Shy Guy Bazaar within the new Mario Kart World game. This is technically not the whole Daisy and Shy Guy connection video that I want to do and sort of explain why I think Daisy and Shy Guys make perfect, like why I think they could actually make perfect sense to actually include them within the same, like, you know, basically stating, like, why I think the idea of, like, Shy Guys being, like, the actual subjects of Sarasaland make more sense, okay? This is technically not that video, but you can still see it as, like, sort of like a setup to it, or even more of, like, not really a setup, but you can also sort of view it as being, like a bit of a fracture of it, like a bit of a part of it, even though it's not the general concept of what I was going to provide in that concept, okay? No. The idea of what I want to actually discuss here, and I actually mentioned this in like within a comment on like the Game Explained channels like that actually is something that could be very interesting here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually going to be true. It's just something I want to discuss, okay? So here's the thing I'm basically going to actually discuss in this video, right? So as we are all aware, in the new Mario Kart game, Mario Kart World, right? Nintendo had decided to take Shy Guy Bazaar and reincorporate it to have Sarasaland elements. And probably the biggest factor of all is that they added Daisy's Palace to there, okay? And in a way, Shy Guy Bazaar has basically become two tracks within one area. Now, the second track is only available during Versus mode, right? As far as I'm aware of, and as far as I can tell, it is only available in Versus mode, and it can only be utilized when you're using the when you're coming from Wario Stadium to Shy Guy Bazaar or Airship Fortress to Shy Guy Bazaar, right? As far as I'm aware of, those are the only two routes, okay? Now, I haven't got a chance to play Mario Kart World just yet, so practically everything that I'm basically mentioning is just information that I'm just getting online or watching other gameplay from other YouTubers who've already played the game. So that's literally my only, that's my only thing to go off on, is just that information alone, alright? So if there's technically another route that I never even realized, never knew about, because there could be someone else who didn't even know that route was possible, then I don't know what to say, okay? Okay. So yes. However, it is interesting in itself that even though the course is still called Shy Guy Bazaar, when it comes to the Daisy Palace variant one, which a lot of people are calling the Daisy Palace variant, even though it's still technically called Shy Guy Bazaar, it's not actually referred to as a different name, but its map in itself does have its own unique layout, right? Like its layout on its course map has its own unique design, okay? So that's really interesting in its thing in itself, okay? So the concept of what I want to provide here is actually looking at other Shy Guy courses, versus specifically the Shy Guy named courses, and actually think of how those courses could actually fit within another region of Daisy's Kingdom to basically represent it overall, okay? So, to start off, the Shy Guy Bazaar, right? Shy Guy Bazaar is basically located within a desert region, okay? It's basically set within a desert themed area, okay? And one of Daisy's kingdoms is the Birabuto kingdom, right? Which is inspired by ancient Egypt, okay? And the fact remains is that I did mention in one of my Daisy videos and things like that, with the Daisy Palace videos and things like that, I did mention that the idea of Nintendo inspiring to have like a Princess Jasmine or like Agrabah or like Aladdin-esque story to this development could make a lot of sense, okay? And I basically mentioned how it can even connect to the whole connection between Daisy and the Middle East, right? So I'm not going to really go too much into that. I will have a link down to the video itself if you really want to watch that video. So feel free to go and give it a look if you want like that. I'll have it linked down below, okay? But yes, Nintendo basically decided to choose the Birabuto Kingdom to represent Sarasaland, alright? Specifically with the Birabuto Kingdom, right? Now, yes, there are other factors as well, and like that. I mean, out of all the, really out of all the enemies from Super Mario Land, the Tokos and the Battledons are the ones who actually return. And with the way it seems is that they chose to have them within desert hills, even though they actually appeared in the Eastern Kingdom. But I still have things to go over on the Eastern Kingdom as well, right? I mean, there's more to really go over here, but out of all the enemies, they've only really brought back the Tokos and the Battledons. But I suppose I'll have to wait to see what else can actually officially come later down the line, okay? Alright, so yes, Guy Bazaar basically returned to Mario Kart World, and Nintendo had chosen to incorporate Daisy's palace with a lot of Birabuto themed inspirations from that region to represent the Guy Bazaar area, okay? So, this actually gets me thinking of some really unique ideas that I think could actually work here, okay? So, imagine if we look at other Shy Guy courses, and we were to incorporate those within another kingdom of Daisy's homeland, okay? The first one I want to discuss here is Shy Guy Beach, okay? Shy Guy Beach first appeared in Mario Kart Super Circuit, okay? Now, that is an old game like that. That's like, what is it, like over, wouldn't that come out like 1999, 2000? So, I don't remember the exact years like that. And to be honest, I can't really look it up right now because I have to use my phone to record the videos like that. So, but I digress, right? It is an old game, okay? So, Shy Guy Beach. We know for a fact that one of Daisy's kingdoms is the Muda Kingdom. Could this make a lot of sense? It possibly could. I think it could actually work to have Shy Guy Beach located within the Muda Kingdom. Or not really located within the Muda Kingdom, but like if there's a chance that Shy Guy Beach could return in like maybe a future DLC update for Mario Kart World, or maybe the next installment, and then maybe it's not out of the line to basically suggest or theorize that Nintendo could incorporate another part of Sarasaland, that being the Muda Kingdom, to have elements incorporated into Shy Guy Beach, okay? And then maybe just like with Guy Bazaar, that incorporated two different layouts and like that. You have basically two layout courses, the Guy Bazaar course and the Daisy Palace course, which, yes, I do know for a fact that it's still called Guy Bazaar, even though technically the second route doesn't really have an official name. But just to keep it simple and to make sure that we're not confusing the two, the first and original one is going to be called the Guy Bazaar, while the other one is going to be called Daisy Palace, okay? It's just to make it more simplified and a little bit more easier, okay? Okay? So, just want to say that real quick, okay? Then I think it can make a lot of sense for Shy Guy Beach to have elements within the Muda Kingdom, okay? Now, I'm not going to basically stop there because I do have some ideas that can actually expand it and make it a little bit more interesting here, okay? Because just like with Shy Guy Bazaar having two different layouts, or basically two different course tracks within the same area, maybe we can do something with to represent the Shy Guy Beach area as well, okay? Maybe it could be possible that Nintendo could utilize Daisy Circuit, okay? And maybe somehow combine that with Shy Guy Beach, okay? I mean, think of it as being like similar to how Peach has her own beach, right? And then we can sort of like theorize and basically suggest an idea of Shy Guy Beach being connected with Daisy Circuit, okay? And this can make a lot of sense because Daisy Circuit does basically take place around the ocean bed areas like that. Like it's basically a circuit-based tracks like that around like a seaside resort, okay? So to be honest, this could actually work to basically visualize an idea of like taking Daisy Circuit and adding a beach area to it. And maybe that beach could be Shy Guy Bazaar. I mean, sorry, not Shy Guy Bazaar, Shy Guy Beach, okay? This could actually work. And I think it can make a lot of sense. Now, it could also be possible that they could just take Shy Guy Beach and then make a completely brand new Daisy themed area and like that, just like what they did with Shy Guy Bazaar, where they basically created a brand new route that utilized Daisy's Palace. But just for the concept here, let's say that we can actually just utilize Daisy Circuit, okay? Now, obviously, of course, with the whole notions like that in Mario Kart World really updating these courses in brand new ways, like, take for instance, look at Peach Beach, right? It has been completely redesigned more than what it's ever been before since it originally appeared in Mario Kart Double Dash, okay? It has been completely redesigned, okay? Not to mention, its redesign is actually very similar to a real world location, okay? So, from what I can gather on what I've actually understood here is that Peach Beach has similarities to a real world location called Mount Michael Saint. Yeah, Mount Michael Saint, okay? Which I believe is in Normandy, France, okay? One idea that I think could actually work here is that imagine if we were to take Daisy Circuit and redesign it, and imagine like maybe an idea we can do is take off say like Saint Michael Mont, okay? Which is actually very similar to Mont Michael Saint, except, I mean, they're kind of similar like that, but they're vastly different areas, okay? Okay? So, they're both tidal islands. They both take inspiration from the Archangel Michael himself, okay? But they're two vastly different areas like that within different locations or regions, okay? The Mont Michael Saint is in Normandy, France, and then the Saint Michael Saint Michael Mont is in Cornwall, England, okay? So maybe we can do something like that. It could actually be a good way to sort of parallel and have a unique aesthetic design similarities between Peach and Daisy, specifically with their two seaside resort or beach areas, okay? That could be really unique. However, possibly, I do have another suggestion, okay? And we could think of the idea of, you know, incorporating the Mudokee and like that, or like Daisy Circuit, to sort of be like, you know, it will definitely be upgraded like that, okay? And then possibly you can summarize the idea that they could take the whole, you know, the whole layouts like that of the seaside resort areas like that is basically behind the whole, you know, behind the whole statues, okay? Imagine taking that and actually incorporating that to where we can actually drive through that and actually have a course track within there. That could work as well. But another possibility that I think could actually work here is imagine if they actually incorporated Daisy Cruiser as well, okay? And then we utilize Shy Guy Beach, Daisy Circuit, and Daisy Cruiser all in a 3-section lap-based area, okay? Now, how could this work? I'm not really sure. I don't have really much time to really suggest like an entire thing, but I thought it could be very interesting itself, okay? Like, imagine if they take the idea of Daisy Circuit and like that, or not Daisy Circuit, but Daisy Cruiser, and they utilize a way to actually connect the courses to where we're able to utilize each one as a section-based lap, okay? Lap 1, you begin like on Guy Bazaar, right? Lap 2, Daisy Circuit. Lap 3, Daisy Cruiser. Or maybe lap 1, Daisy Cruiser, lap 2, Shy Guy Beach, and then lap 3, Daisy Circuit, okay? I'm not really sure. I just figured I'd make a suggestion, okay? Now, another thing I want to actually discuss here that I think would be really interesting here is that, you know, maybe to make it feel a little bit more dynamic and a little bit much more bigger like that, imagine if the idea of, you know, the Shy Guy Beach area was basically a beach area like that, and then Daisy Circuit does have its whole seaside resort area to help along with it, but at the same time, we can summarize and sort of think of the idea of like combining Baby Park with it as well, okay? Maybe the entire seaside resort can actually be sort of hotels like that to basically stop at to go visit Baby Park, okay? So maybe it's just basically a section based area that will actually lead into like the whole general Baby Park area, and that can be utilized for a brand new like a brand new islands like that with its all new maps and courses, okay? Like Luigi, like the whole Haunted Mansion area, that could literally become like a Luigi's Mansion type course, okay? That could be interesting in itself, okay? You also have the whole castle, right? Maybe it can be possible that you could utilize the castle and then have a completely brand new route, or as far as we're aware of, like you can go in the castle and then you can literally have like maybe a Ribbon Road aesthetic course within there as well. Like there's so many possibilities and so many ideas that you can actually do, and it would be insanely incredible. So I'm all there for it, and to be honest, I think it'd actually work. Now, just for a quick note here, this is just a small quick note, okay? To be honest, the whole actual baby, the baby track is like that, the whole around the circle 7 lap thing, while I won't have anything complaints to say if Nintendo wanted to reuse that again, I don't actually think that would make a lot of sense for this whole general concept. But I do think the idea that if they do utilize Baby Park into an actual full course area that we can actually explore, then it might make more sense to actually keep the whole like baby track and stuff like that as maybe like a P-switch mission, okay? Like say for instance, like you hit the P-switch and it basically tells you to circle around Baby Track 7 times before the time limit's up, okay? Like maybe something like that, okay? Okay, let's just get back to the track, okay? So yes, Shy Guy Beach being incorporated with Daisy Circuit and maybe even Daisy Cruiser to represent the Muda Kingdom, right? I think this could actually work. and I think it could be very interesting itself, okay? However, I do have some ideas I want to discuss on possible updates to Shy Guy Beach, okay? Because Shy Guy Beach, while the only two courses, or the two games that appeared in, was its original game, Mario Kart Super Circuit, and Mario Kart Wii, okay? And with the way things have been drastically updated within Mario Kart World, I definitely feel like Shy Guy Beach needs to be updated, okay? So I'm going to basically list off some ideas that I think could actually work to incorporate Shy Guy Beach in ways that we can actually connect it, okay? And I'll even lay down some ideas that we can basically present to make an understanding on why this could actually work, okay? Alright. So here's some ideas and changes that I think we can actually do to basically expand Shy Guy Beach, okay? So first off, imagine if we were to actually set in within like maybe like a sort of like a giant rock cave area, right? Like imagine like a part of the course has now been implemented to have like this giant rock mountain structure and stuff like that. Not like a major big mountains like that, but it's basically sort of like a cave rock, right? It's basically a giant massive rock cave and stuff like that that will actually allow the racers to travel into, okay? And then we'll basically travel into like this cave rock structure, and then in there, maybe they could have like, there are two possibilities I think we can actually have in there, okay? Number one, there could be like a flying saucer in there, okay? A sunken flying saucer that basically has gotten trapped within the cave and stuff like that, and it's been in there for like a really long time, okay? Maybe that's a possibility. Second possibility is that maybe they can actually have a Shy Guy pirate ship in there, okay? The Shy Guy Galleon, okay? Imagine going in there and like that, and then they actually have a Shy Guy Galleon trapped within there and like that, that it's basically become trapped within things like that and hasn't been able to get out for like centuries at a time, okay? So, to be honest, I'm not really sure. I feel like both of them could actually work. But please let me know which one you actually think should actually be in the cave. Should it be a flying saucer, or should it be a Shy Guy Galleon, okay? Afterwards, we exit the rock cave, it's like that, and then instead of driving around, like, I mean, technically we'll still be driving around like that, but instead of driving on another beach area, this area will specifically be part of a water-based section area where we're actually driving on the waves instead, okay? We'll drive on the waves like that, and then we'll continue a little further, or eventually we'll reach those, you know, those circle, 6 circle layout things? We'll reach that area, but instead of just being random circle sand beach areas like that, I think it could be more interesting here if we actually took the concept of that and maybe like utilize, say, like 6 flying saucers right next to each other, okay? And then we basically enter the flying saucers like that at, instead of it being the flying saucer that you enter that you're flying around like that at and free runs like that, instead of it being that, these are more implemented within the track itself, allowing us to actually drive into the saucer, into the next one, the next one, next one, next one, alright? That's one idea I had. The other idea I had was to take, well, I don't think necessarily 6 would work, so we'll have to try to trim it down to like maybe 3 or 4. But imagine taking like 3 or 4 Shy Guy Galleons. We actually drive up one of the Shy Guy Galleons, it's like that, up one of their deck ramps like that. We drive up through there, it's like that. We basically follow on through the Shy Guy Galleons like that onto its walk planks like that. We continue on as we cross another Shy Guy Galleon into another Shy Guy Galleon like that. Where we basically lead off into another path that will lead us back down to the course below us like that, onto the other part of the beach, okay? And then, what we do is like that, we reincorporate back onto the beach, right? We drive around like that, and before we actually get to the finish line, it's like that, back at the finish line, we actually drive underneath a giant sandcastle that is reminiscent of Daisy's Palace, okay? So we basically drive right back underneath a giant sandcastle with a whole moat-like structure, or that is now included to basically remnants of like Daisy's Palace from Guy Bazaar, or we drive underneath it, it's like that, back at the finish line. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention, that there will also be like a deck area like that we'll drive underneath, alright? Like a giant deck area like that will be connected to Daisy Circuit like that to basically, you know, basically look over the mainlands like that, okay? Like basically something like that, okay? So that's the concept that I had, that some ideas and updates and things I think actually work to incorporate with Shy Guy Beach to connect to Daisy Circuit, okay? So obviously the first things like that would obviously be seeing the whole deck things like that that'll connect to Daisy Circuit, okay? The whole giant rock cave structure that will actually drive through us like that, where either there will be like a UFO trapped within there, or we could actually look at and utilize the whole idea of after we leave the things like that, we're actually traversing onto like a whole bunch of like Shy Guy Galleons and stuff like that. Maybe that could be possible in itself, okay? So those are some ideas that I think could actually work here, okay? Now, to be honest, it's just a suggestion, it's just an idea. You don't actually have to think it's perfect, but I just want to discuss it, okay? Okay. I think that's okay on the whole Muda Kingdom, alright? I think we can officially do well in the Muda Kingdoms like that. Let's move on to the Eastern Kingdom, okay? So, with the Eastern Kingdom, I think the idea of incorporating Shy Guy Falls to represent the Eastern Kingdom could make a lot of sense, because, technically speaking, with Shy Guy Falls, when you're racing through the course like that, you do basically race through, like, cave-like tunnels and stuff like that. I mean, they're not exactly full-length cave areas, but you do basically race through, like, cave-like structures in a way, and there is a waterfall, okay, that you race up, okay? And if you play Super Mario Land, then you should know full well that in the Eastern Kingdom, specifically with level 2 and 3, you actually travel through a cave, through like cavern-like structures that have waterfalls in the background, okay? So, to be honest, I do think the idea of incorporating Shy Guy Falls to represent the Eastern Kingdom could make a lot of sense. And I think that could actually work. And to make this more simplified, I also think it could be very interesting here if we were to take another Daisy course, which another Daisy course that we actually have is actually Daisy Hills. So imagine taking Daisy Hills and somehow reincorporating that to be connected to Shy Guy Falls, where these things can actually represent the Eastern Kingdom overall, okay? Now, before we officially get into the thing, I need to actually say something here very quickly, okay? So, as far as I can gather on Daisy Hills, okay, its entire layout and design that was introduced in Mario Kart, I think 7? I think it was introduced in Mario Kart 7, okay? I hope I'm not getting that wrong, okay? Its whole aesthetic design and layout seems to be inspired by Austrian landscapes, okay? The Eastern Kingdom within Super Mario Land is heavily inspired by the Easter Islands, okay? This is most definitely obvious because of the enemies, the Tokotokos and the Baradons, including the boss of the world itself, the Hoi Hoi, who are definitely inspired by the Moai statues, the Stonehead statues. So, just to be very clear here, I'm not trying to suggest and basically say that Austrian and the Easter Islands are the same area, alright? They're two completely geographical areas like that. They're not the same as like that. They have no connections whatsoever to each other, okay? However, we do know for a fact that when it comes to like Nintendo and like these certain areas like that, we do know for a fact that they do have a tendency to combine different general locations or take inspiration from general locations around the world and basically utilize these things into a very generic layouts like that. Like, you know, one part, like the areas like that you traverse through is remnants of like one general area, but then as you continue on like that, you get to another area, and then it's like literally become a completely different area like that. So yes, not here to basically state that they're basically the same areas like that, but I do have an idea of how we can actually use this and how I think it actually work, okay? So, it would be possible that we would probably have to do some major updates like that to basically change the layout to Daisy Hills, but we'll have to wait and see how that can actually work out, okay? However, I do have an idea that I want to basically present on why I actually think these two can actually represent the whole same area, okay? So, this is really, well, to be honest, I feel like it's basically like a slap in the face kind of thing, but whether or not you want to actually think of it as being like a perfect thing, it's the only reasonable excuse I have, and it's not just because of the whole thing where I mentioned that Eastern Kingdom has the whole waterfalls and stuff like that, and the cave-like structures that I mentioned before. No, the idea of what I want to present here on Daisy Hills being like connected to Shy Guy Falls to represent it overall is because I actually discovered something very interesting here, is that the name Austrians like that, like the Austrian names like that, when you actually look up its origins within the Old High Germans like that, apparently the whole Austrian in lands areas like that is basically supposed to mean the Eastern Realm or Eastern Empire or even the Eastern Kingdom, okay? So literally thinking the concept here is that Austrian itself in Old High German is supposed to mean the Eastern Kingdom. We could actually theorize and assume that Daisy Hills is actually supposed to take place in the Eastern Kingdom, okay? And then, because the Eastern Kingdom is supposed to represent a lot of rocky terrain mountains and stuff like that with caves and waterfalls, then it should not be out of the realm of possibilities for us to actually suggest a crazy, unique idea of Nintendo taking these two courses, Daisy Hills, and somehow connecting that with Shy Guy Falls. I think that could actually work. And I think it can make a lot of sense. However, let's not stop there, because I feel like we need to actually discuss some possibilities with Shy Guy Falls, okay? So, imagine like instead of driving out the waterfall, like we do in the actual Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, instead of driving up the waterfall, they could have like maybe like a cave-like tunnel entrance where we actually drive into the waterfall, into like a whole brand new secret giant cave mining areas like that we race into. It's like that, where instead we drive up the waterfall, we drive into the waterfall. It's like that, into like a brand new like cave open like structures like that, where Shy Guys are mining like crazy in there. Okay, and then we race out of the waterfall, and then who knows? Like maybe another possibility is that waterfall is like that. I'll have a picture right here. It's like that, but that waterfall you see. Like, imagine if that has, like, another secret entrance like that. We travel into that secret areas like that. We travel into there, and it leads into another path where the whole Shy Guy money parts like that, that's basically, like, right next to the main track. Imagine if we're able to enter inside there, and we're able to race into another secret area back to the finish line, okay? Now, these are just some ideas that I wanted to basically throw out. Now, there could be a lot more ideas that we can actually suggest to basically make this a little bit more appealing and like that. But overall, the idea of what I want to suggest here, and to really go over the concept is that because Nintendo decided to check Shy Guy Bazaar and connect a Sarasaland theme element with it by giving a Daisy a purpose to have it basically a Daisy-inspired kingdom, then what if we could actually summarize and think that if this is what the route that Nintendo is going to do, then maybe the idea of Shy Guy Beach should be incorporated with another part of Sarasaland, that being the Muda Kingdom, Shy Guy Falls being represented with the Eastern Kingdom. Then who knows the possibilities that what they could actually have in store with the Chai Kingdom, okay? Now, just to be very sure I'm getting this through and like that, I'm only really referring to the Shy Guy named courses, okay? Like, even though Sunset Wilds does actually have, like, a Shy Guy themed representation of it, I'm only sticking to the Shy Guy named courses rather than the courses that actually don't have characters' names, or just basically title something without the characters' names, but only the representations of it, okay? Just want to be very clear on that, okay? So who knows what they can actually have in store for the Chai Kingdom, okay? Like, we know, for instance, that the Chai Kingdoms like that, like, the two main gimmicks that were on like that we can actually summarize for the Chai Kingdoms like that is that the first level takes place within a bamboo forest. The second level takes place within, like brick, sort of like these block-like structures that are basically on the side of a mountain like that. It's basically stated to be, like, on a mountain's cliff range like that you're traveling through. And then level 3 is supposed to take place high in the clouds and like that, where eventually you reach some kind of, like, building-like structure and like that. Whatever that building is supposed to be, I'm not sure, right? Maybe it was supposed to be Daisy's Palace. Maybe it was supposed to be a temple. I'm not really sure, okay? So maybe that's something they could do, right? Maybe they can introduce a new course called Shy Guy Forest, okay? And then with that alone, they can introduce another brand new Daisy course, okay? So maybe one area could represent the Shy Guy Forest. Shy Guys working within a bamboo themed forest like that. And then, say, like, after the forest areas like that, there's also another course that can actually connect this like that, where it can also have a Daisy representation of it by maybe having Daisy's, temple, Daisy's garden, Daisy's mazy. Yeah, Daisy's mazy, right? Maybe that would actually be much more efficient, right? So, yeah, I mean, Daisy Palace with Shy Guy Bazaar, the Daisy Resort with Shy Guy Beach, let's see, Daisy Hills with Shy Guy Falls, and then Shy Guy Forest with Daisy's Maze, Daisy's Garden. I feel like any option could actually work, okay? But overall, those are just some things I want to suggest and things I want to actually go over, okay? So feel free to actually let me know what you actually think of the idea. Do you think it could actually work, and do you think it could actually be theoretically possible that Nintendo could actually continue on with this and take these other Shy Guy courses and incorporate them to have representations of Sarasaland with basically the Muda Kingdom, Eastern Kingdom, and who knows, maybe even the Chai Kingdom, okay? Could this be possible? And if it could, do you want it to be possible? Please let me know. I want to hear from you guys, okay? So that'll be it for today's video. I do apologize for the stuttering I've been doing like that. I do apologize, okay? Overall, thank you so much. If you liked the video and you like anything I suggest, anything I had to say, please let me know in the comment section below, alright? Feel free to hit notification bells, subscribe to the channel if you want to basically keep watching my videos like that. If you really want to see more of it, subscribe to the channel. Overall, thank you so much. You all have a great day. Oh, one last thing. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I mean, by the time you're watching this video, it's already going to be like July 5th, or probably July 6th, whenever you actually get to watch this video. And then, I mean, we basically just passed July 4th, so technically we're already practically in July 5th right now. But due to the fact that we just passed it, just for the heck of it, I'm going to say it. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you. You all have a great day. Goodbye, everybody.